Alright, so bringing back show name redacted. So I will need a co-host. Might need a new one, but sure, I guess I'll check with Rob first and see if he can do it. Hello? Yes, I'm looking to speak to Rob Price. You might know him as Gosu Dreams. You don't know Gosu Dreams? The Dagda fan club? Alright, so no Rob. Guess we just go the other names on the list. Hey, hello? Tig? Yep, it's me. Whymsy. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Oh, okay. I'm surprised, it should be a quiet time with the coronavirus around, but... Oh. Well, I mean, do you think you will get caught? Yeah, I suppose. I mean, probably would be better if you weren't got for murder. I mean, it doesn't matter whether or not he deserved it. That's still pretty illegal. Hello? Dude? Yeah, it's me, Whymsy. Yeah, no, I'm good. Just checking. I have a bit of a proposition for you. I'm setting up a new talk show, podcast kind of thing, and I'd like you to co-host it with me. No, it's Irish League of Legends. The classic. No, it's not PUBG Mobile. No PUBG Mobile, just League. What do you mean why? Hey, ma'am. Yeah, it's me, David. I'm just looking to see if you would like to co-host a talk show podcast with me. I'm looking for a co-host and clean my room. Ma'am, how do you know what my room looks like? I can't get a haircut, ma'am. We're all stuck inside. Everything's closed. Okay, I will. Alright? I will. Alright, bye. Jesus. Hello? Is this Shocks? Yeah, hi. My name is David Whyms. I'm looking for a co-host for my new talk show / pod. It's worth a try, I guess. Not a single person. Okay, well, geez. Okay, now I guess have to take anyone at this point.
Yo, Whymsy, you want tea?
Alright, fine. You can be on the podcast. Jeez. You happy now? You happy? I'm that desperate. Just so need a co-host. You'll have to do. Alright, everyone. Hello and welcome to the second episode of Catchup XP. I hope you can hear me. Like I said, I'm kind of fiddling around with the new videos and stuff, but or Kev as well. But once again, I'm David Whymsy. Alongside me is Kev Blueberry Trainer. Back for a second week here. First of all, I hope you guys enjoyed the skit. I just figured to try something new with some of the stuff I have. But yeah, Kev, how you doing today?
Yeah, good. I guess I'm the last choice then.
Hey man, it's okay. You know what? That's a bit misleading. I mean, you're there is a few people left out between that, but there's definitely other people that you made.
I'll take fourth. I'm used to taking fourth.
Hey,
I'm playing for SG, so just give me fourth, man.
You were the first choice in the house. All right, so you beat at least two people, but maybe just two people.
Yeah, I guess I'll take that.
In any case, we're back again discussing all things Irish League of Legends, and I think the key thing to start off, as Kev kind of alluded to with the little sip there that he just took from the can, we are talking about Rebel Solo Queue once again. We had our first qualifier of the two on Thursday this week, and we have the second one coming up as well. Second and last one. There's only two this time around, but so we have our first day qualifiers. But actually, first of all, I just want to go over what you actually thought of the new setup and the new format. Obviously, quite different to what we saw in previous years. solo queue now in the top lane and with the bans, especially the bans, I think were something that changed it a lot. What do you think just make overall of the new additions?
Yeah, so I actually like the bans a lot. I think it's something that you really it's quite essential for a 1v1 tournament, even from a spectator's point of view and from a player's point of view. No one wants to see Caitlyn every game. No one wants to see it.
Yep.
So yeah, swapping up to the top lane as well creates for, I guess, more solo kill potential in the long lane, which is cool to watch. We saw a lot of cool 1v1s go down. And, you know, it kind of accommodates to a different style of player as well. Like, you're always going to get the 80 carry mains that are going for their 100 CS. You know they can out macro their opponent, and they know their wave control a lot better. Whereas you get like kind of wild card players then that will just pull out these wacky picks and go for the solo kills. So the long lane really, I guess, kind of helps for those exciting moments to come out.
Yeah, it like you said, it kind of aids to that solo queue potential a bit. I think the bans as well, like you said, take away the key CS champions, that people especially don't want to play against those, because it's kind of oppressive, I think, when you are going up against a good Caitlyn player. Although we didn't see a lot of Caitlyn bans in a lot of cases over the weekend. A champion that I think was very, very popular on stream specifically. I know some people in chat were giving out about the quantity of Syndra that was being played. Oh yeah, Syndra was the champion. Mixed up my words.
Spoilers.
Yeah, didn't mean to spoil what I was going to say 2 seconds later. But it's kind of surprising because the mages can be tricky. Although Syndra's always been an outlier. Also Cassio as well, I think was another big mage. And then outside of that, it was a good mix of things actually. Like I said, we're kind of just limited to specific things that we saw on stream, but it was pretty crazy to see Syndra so popular over the course of the tournament.
Yeah, well, I guess the thing about Syndra, right, is she is quite a lane dominant champion, and she's quite easy to CS on as well. So, I mean, those kind of two factors combined always makes her a popular pick, I guess, in this kind of scenario. We saw a lot of, I guess, like combat summoners opted Syndras as opposed to like the TPs that you would see come out from maybe picking like 80 carries. Which I guess is nice to see. You know, people are looking for plays, looking for their solo kills. We saw a lot of close games come down to the wire with that. I know even one of the games on stream, Hawkins, one of his last games was quite good. That was one of the Syndra games being played. So yeah, I mean, you're always gonna. The cool thing about these 1v1 tournaments, depending on the meta, you're always gonna have this mini meta form inside the tournament, right? Where certain picks are going to get popular, and it can even depend on, you know, the champ pools of the scene itself. But yeah, it just so happens, I guess, we have a lot of Syndra players in Ireland. So
yep, that's just kind of how it is. And I think, like you said, your point on the mini metas, that's almost even more accentuated by the fact that now the bans are available. A lot of kind of preemptive things will come in, especially when we get to those final stages, which I'm very much looking forward to. But we know our first 8 qualifiers. Now, I'm going to have to try and remember them off the top of my head, because otherwise I would have to get rid of Kev's webcam, and I obviously don't want to deny you guys Kev's beautiful face for much too long. So I'm going to have to try and remember these. So it was Ori, Connor G, Cute Blanket, Ghoul, Dano, Guardian, Random Maid, and Hawkins, I think were the 8.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
If channel give it to me if I'm incorrect. Yeah. So I got it. All right. But yeah. So I think that's for the most part a very strong pool of players. Ones that we've seen make previous finals like nearly across the board. A couple of new additions.
Well, I mean, you say strong, but Gareth did qualify, so
yeah.
It's kind of all up in the air.
Purely historically strong. Gareth. Ghoul, Disco Drunk, I think is now his current IGN. I mean, probably an easy bracket. You know, that's kind of that's got to be it. But yeah. In any case, I mean, in all seriousness, we're just lagging him a bit because he's downstairs. But in all seriousness, actually, just I think generally pretty good. We even have one of our former champions in Dano, who managed to make it through with. A Cassio versus Cassio matchup in his very last game, which is pretty exciting to see.
Against quite a good player as well. I didn't actually get to catch the series because Spectator just went down at the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, apparently it was quite a close series between Dano and Trevis, and obviously Trevis also known for being a very good mechanical player. So really would have liked to see them match up. Maybe we'll get to see them in the knockouts at some stage. Um, but that being said, there's also a lot of really good players that did dip out
Yeah.
of this qualifier. So maybe we'll be seeing the, I guess, revenge of the likes of Kevin Mann and Rengus coming back in the second bracket, and also people that didn't get to play in the first bracket. Hell, another one, big name that didn't actually play in the first series. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see what comes back in the second qualifier.
Yeah, that's actually something I would like to touch on because I mean we saw one of Rengus's games on stream, I believe, and that one was kind of very unfortunate. He did come up against Afferent. I'm trying to remember the name of the player that he did lose to, but that was in the first round. That was quite a shock. Afferent did end up making it all the way to a qualifying match where he did lose to Guardian, but even so, that was quite a surprise. And then Kevin Mann, we saw him on stream with a very convincing win. I'm not even sure I think he lost to Cube Blanket in.
He did lose to
Yeah,
Cube Blanket, yeah.
which once again is quite a surprise. Cube Blanket, one of the two qualifiers from this, who I don't think has made it to the finals before. So that quite a shock for Kevin Mann here. And like I said, I think I'm with you in that I would expect those two players specifically to be the ones really bouncing back coming through next time, because Travis as well. I think are the three that I would watch out for, because they both have shown that they're quite potent in these matchups, and yeah, I mean, it would be quite unfortunate, I think, for them to miss out in a second qualifier. But there's only two qualifiers this time, which is kind of what makes it.
That's right, and that's what really makes me look forward to this one. Right, is you've got people coming back looking for revenge. You got fresh faces coming in for the first time, but the stakes are doubled, right? Because there's no more second chances now. It's all about getting to that knockout stage. So I feel like people might pull out some cheese picks that maybe they were gonna like save for a later stage in the knockout. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It should be really, really good.
Yeah, I'm seeing some chat saying that we forgot Costa Corda, but did we really forget
Costa no hand Corda
in a lane, not playing Karthus? We'll see about that one. But yeah, I mean, just a quick look back at the people who did qualify. Obviously, we kind of discussed Dano a little bit. We also discussed Gareth somewhat jokingly. But is there anyone else there that would immediately stand out as like a surefire bet to go far in the finals at the very least?
Well, for me, I think Hawkins always does well in these 1v1 tournaments. I remember specifically the last tournament when he matched up against Kev Man. They gave us a great series. And he seems to, well, not only know Syndra as a champion quite well, so I could see that being taken off the board, but we saw in the previous Red Bull tournament how he just has these crazy picks that he'll just pull out of nowhere to go for 1v1 kills. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Hawkins going into the knockout stage. I think he has a lot to, I guess, give in that sense. And also Guardian, only coming back and playing League of Legends kind of the past 2 weeks or so. He's been spamming out solo queue, hard stuck in plat 4. Fair play to him. So you know, maybe he can pop off in the knockout stage and pick up some wins there.
Yeah, Guardian's mental, not necessarily built for the 5v5 solo queue, but for Red Bull solo queue, I think he seems to be getting along fairly nicely for himself. One player I'm curious to see how he does is Ori. He's one of the returning finalists from last year. And he's kind of a player who I think his rise kind of began almost with last year's Red Bull Player 1, and he's been slowly making his way. He got a semi-final finish in the rivalry tournament recently with Resolve. So these are players on the up, and I'm wondering if he can pull off a big performance when it does come to those finals. And I think actually almost a lot of it could depend on who makes it through the second qualifier. If there's a strong batch, then maybe he can find himself in a tricky spot. But I'm just seeing Kev's
I've been cut off the
danger of talking smack while on webcam. But yeah, so I mean, as I said, Ori's the kind of player I'm excited to see, as along with the new ones as well, because it's always interesting when these new players come in, like Ori and Asher last year, and seeing how they do. One key question is, Kev, are you entering next week's qualifier or this week's qualifier Thursday?
I don't know.
I mean,
Rumble could be locked, and a few bits could be done, but we'll have to see.
The
We'll have to
dream.
see my
Control the wave. Expert wave manipulation.
I would like to call out that I have solo killed Rengus on lane in lane playing Braum top. So I mean,
that's also an option. The Braum top would be expected. Yeah, although you have given away all of your 2 strats with in those moments, so maybe a bit of a.
Yeah, 3 bans is a bit too much. Bring it back. Bring it. No bans. No bans. Bring back the old format.
Yeah, have it in the bot lane. Support champions only. That's the question. But yeah, just a heads up. So if you want to sign up for Red Bull Solo Queue, just Google Red Bull Solo Queue Ireland, and you should be able to find it pretty easy. We actually saw a link from our mod Altalus in chat. Click on that, and well, maybe click on that. I'm not quite sure. He's kind of questioned himself. There we go. Okay, we got the second link there. Click on that, guys, instead. Alright, yeah, click on that, sign up. You've got one more opportunity. You need to top 8 finish, and you will qualify for the playoffs and the finals, which will be the 30th and the 7th of May are the dates off the top of my head. Just the next Thursdays anyway. It runs for all the Thursdays until 7th of May. So make sure you guys do that.
Otherwise, we'd have nothing else to talk about. So
yeah, that's we gotta make it up as we go along. Speaking of which, you can see our title that talks about solo queue and star players. So you kind of figured as a thing to go over for just one of the early episodes. We're going to talk about all of Irish League of Legends that's happened and what players have been good. I kind of want to
all of it in one episode.
I know, yeah. It's I mean it's a good place. It's a good place to start off. Like it kind of gets both of our opinions out there. Not that I've shared mine enough around already over the course of the years, but I may as well do it again. So yeah, so I figured might start off with your lane, Kev, and look at some support players. So a quick, I'll start you off, Kev. Aside from maybe yourself, who do you think is the best Irish support player that has?
Are we talking right now? Or are we talking?
Oh no, over the okay. If you peek behind the curtain, we're saving the right now things for a little while down the road. But for like ever, just
See, it's kind of hard for me to say because I feel like I kind of came into the scene at the end of the old era, right?
So just from your perspective, because I'll have.
So I know when I started watching G Series that, well, I guess you can call him John, Slut, or Moot, was a really good support at the time. Obviously, Blaze played LVP and was on that Phelan roster. You have Munch, who has played in countless UK tournaments and has been consistently one of the best supports over all the years of League. And then, of course, you got Mark Gaffo, the uprising support at the, right now, who's really, really showing his worth in recent tournaments. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to say. Just from my experience, I would probably say Munch, purely off his experience and consistency over the past couple of years. But as I said, it's kind of tough not knowing what was before I came in. But
yeah,
do you want to give your 2 cents on it?
I mean, so for me, Munch is one that I think, especially among the highlight community, has always kind of has been praised. Well, not always, but like in the last 2 years or so, has been praised as the guy at support. Seemingly more so than because it was him and Blaze for quite a while as the top players. And Blaze was kind of the one finding all the success. He was on the Ferocity/NSG team that was winning all the tournaments, and Munch was kind of floating around between a few teams. Seemingly always putting up good performance. I remember there was that one game where he played for Bray. I think it was the
E-Star
semi-finals, and they were against Shamrock Rovers, and just that bar game was like, I think 1v9 from support has never been more exemplified by literally that performance. It's just absolutely insane how he was just dragging everybody to a win there, and he started. I mean, with that DGF win, he's kind of started actually winning things as well. So it's been interesting to see. I would think. See, I don't want to be results based analysis, but if it goes to results based analysis, I always kind of would default towards Blaze because like there was a while where he was kind of very uncontested, and even when he was contested, he was still just like dominating. He was like highest ranked player. Well, was he highest ranked player? I mean, like I said, it was almost back and forth between him and Munch, but I feel as if those two are the standouts.
Yeah, for sure.
For
It
me,
was always those two
yeah,
at the top of the ladder, right?
yeah. I know, like that's almost one of the roles where I think back, and there was kind of so much flux, and the only consistent old sport player that like really was around would have been. Well, I mean, there was Kappa, who was good, but I don't think he was like never as winning as these guys, and also Dustin, who didn't play support at his best. That was kind of the time when like other players on the team were the big carries. So, I think Munch and Blaze are kind of the two. Why would you think specifically would maybe elevate Munch over Blaze, like when you compare the two directly?
So for me, it's actually kind of funny how different the players are, even though how they are quite on par with each other. Like I know Blaze specifically was always, playing these engaged kill lane champs, whereas Munch normally opted for more kind of casters, healers.
Yeah.
But from, I guess, laning against both of them in a lot of tournaments, I always felt a lot more pressure out of a lane with Munch in it. He's also just, I've obviously played like some tournaments with him as well. And I guess the kind of knowledge that he brings from his experience in his shot calling. Now, mind you, I actually haven't played any tournaments with Blaze, so apparently he actually does bring a lot to comms as well. And you could see that in, I guess, back when he used to stream last year or the year before, that he actually did like shot call a lot through pings and through chat. So yeah, I mean, I think either way it would be a very close toss up between the two, but yeah, I would go slightly in favor of Munch, just purely off a consistency basis. I think Munch was always a very, very solid for his team.
All right, so we're leaning towards Munch here in terms of that, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I think there's a couple of players in the equation. Moving on to the other role in that bottom lane, AD carry. AD carry is a kind of a strange one. Once again, this is like I'm trying to think. Okay, so I'll break down the list of all like the kind of the elite AD carries that we've had here over the course of the years. So there has been. Right. I don't think Coco was Coco really playing AD for long enough for him to be considered. Same with Sonic as well, because I mean, if it's just based on their peak, Sonic would be number one, but he only played like 2 splits of G Series, so I don't know. Beyond that, I mean, Voina, Devils are almost kind of the Blaze Munch of the previous thing. I will say, will I say Kevin Man? I'm not quite sure. I
think you're more asking, should you say OBK99?
Oh yes, I knew there was a name off of it. I mean,
of course, Dano, who has actually proven himself the best ADC in the country right now.
Multi-role talent, Dano as well. Although I think his name would be a little bit. Actually, well, I don't know. I feel as if would his stint at AD carry so far be long enough to kind of warrant him in the discussion? Do you think?
I'd say it could. I'd say it definitely could. Seeing as, I guess, they were going... I guess the bot lane of him and Mark Gaffo in rivalry finals were laning against, I guess, nowadays known as the best bot lane in Ireland, right? Was Kevin Man and Munch for a long time with, obviously Voin and Blaze stopped playing the game. And, same goes for Devils as well. So I guess they were kind of the staple lane to beat. So, I mean, yeah, like Dano and Mark Gaffo in lane together. They did a few bits in finals, so I would say he's in contention.
In contention, all right. Well, then, who would your like I said, like who would your number one be then from your time playing?
From my time playing, it'd have to be Devils because we played the tournament that shall not be named together, and it was a really good experience. I think he brings a lot to a team. And specifically for me as well as a support, he helped me improve on a lot throughout the space of the tournament. To the stage where, like, at the start, I was like trying not to get in his way, kind of, till we kind of like fell into our own playstyle then. But yeah, he was just insanely good at like every type of ADC you needed him to be, and he was always like the consistent hyper carry. So for me, it would be Devils, anyways.
See, I would almost think this is a tougher one than the previous question, mainly because it's been longer, I think, since we've seen both of them play. It's because it feels like even with Blaze streaming after that NSG team kind of fell away, and Munch obviously playing very recently, whereas Devil's Void kind of hasn't been a thing for a while. In my head, just kind of based off of things, I would almost go against you and say I'd say Voina, purely because although then again it almost comes down to like that was the bot lane that played together for so long, Voina and Blaze, and like at what point is that they've kind of just they benefit from the fact that they played together for so consistently. But I think just in terms of, once again, the results they got together when they were playing on Ferocity / NSG, Devil's obviously a fantastic player, but never really matched that. Although again he played multiple roles, he's actually going to pop up in a different role later. But yeah, it's I think, like I said, those are the clear 1 and 2. Sorry, the 2 and 3 behind OBK number 1. But just thank you, chat, for checking me there. But yeah, I think Voina almost ekes it out just based on what we see. It's kind of tough to tell maybe how well he would have done had he kind of been in the same situation where, like Devils, he kind of had to play with multiple different supports and multiple different teams over the course of the year, or the course of the years. Yeah. Anyone else that you would like to kind of put near them, or?
Well, I mean, I think nowadays we're actually kind of getting more ADCs come into the scene, so it could be interesting to see new names come into that. I know obviously Blank and Vanguard are 2 ADCs that have kind of like come into the scene the past kind of year. They're both like high kind of D1 master elos, so yeah, it should be interesting to see if those guys can, you know, get on some sort of team and make a dent in the Irish scene, make a name for themselves, and, you know, get themselves up to that position where people are talking about them on a talk show several years later.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm seeing Cerberus in chat, and we will talk about that later. So, okay, swapping up to mid lane, and this is actually one which has a lot. I mean, it is mid lane, so it's kind of like, you know, the marquee role in League of Legends, but at the same time, all right, I'm gonna break down the list of names going all the way back. All right.
Okay.
I don't know if we should include. I think Ed Libbet, first of all, just completely excludes you from the discussion because he stopped playing before I think you even went to your first LAN. There's Coco Pops, Stark, Azrael. I feel as if I'm immediately just forgetting some. I mean, those are kind of like the big classic 3. I mean, Hell has played a lot as well, so maybe you could have his name in there. More recently, obviously, Dano is the key performer. I have almost completely blanked in terms of
BB Muffin as well.
BB Muffin as well, actually. Yeah, that's another big one. Especially kind of back when the last few lands that we had were taking place. I'm seeing Poosh in chat, but Poosh is a top laner. So, Dune. Okay, I have to stop reading suggestions from chat.
Oh Lord.
I'm pretty happy with my list. If I do see anything, I'll put it back. But So I mean, that's a long list. But I think compared to maybe some of the other ones, it's actually almost weighted to kind of the G Series days, where I think a lot of the big names were playing back then. So, and I know I'm almost certain we'll have different opinions on this. But once again, start off with yourself from your perspective. Who would you have as your number one?
Yeah, so again, it's kind of interesting, right? Because I feel like one of the huge factors in, I guess, making this Hall of Fame of players, right, is the kind of experience that they've got over the years. One of which is obviously playing abroad in the UK scene, right? It's I guess the real test is how they do against these, you know, stacked master challenger teams. And yeah, it's like we obviously BB Muffin had a split on Phelan in the LVP. I don't think he got his game much, but he did make that roster. Dano obviously playing LVP or UKEL, sorry, this past split and winning it was quite big and has been the standout mid laner for I guess the past like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And then going back, then we're talking about the I guess Ferocity dominant era where they had several different mid laners coming in and out, and Stark and Hell, and then going even further back to Azrael and them as well. So yeah, there's a lot of big contenders. It's kind of hard to pick one. For me, it would probably be Lord Zoink himself because I guess he's just so good mechanically, and I really feel like I haven't seen that out of that many players in the Irish scene where they can literally just pick up a champion and then just go ham, start playing. And you can even see that in the way that he's just picked up 80 carry for a tournament, or coming next rivalry picking up jungle for a tournament, because he just picks up these champions and he just has that kind of natural game sense for it.
Yeah. So I think I have a few opinions on this.
Okay.
So well, the first thing is that the unfortunate thing is I can't really speak about BB Muffin because I haven't actually seen a ton of his play. Obviously, I know like people are saying that he actually recently just did Challenger, which is obviously quite an achievement. But like unfortunately, I just haven't really been paying. Oh, there's the case to Kevin on copy pasta. They haven't really been paying attention to like all the games he's been playing. So it's kind of I can't really I don't really want to put him number one when I haven't seen as much. In terms of Dano, I would have him top two.
Okay.
I'm not. It's kind of tough to necessarily put him number one. But the thing about Dano is, I think if Dano is playing well, he wins because he's just like the way, especially with his playstyle, it's just kind of like he will just completely dominate the lane. Like it's lane kingdom properly when Dano's kind of on form. Again, it doesn't really matter who he's going against. I think we saw that in the UKEL a bit when he was playing there. Like he was pretty nuts. But the other person I would have is Coco. I think Coco as well, just super skilled player. Also, I think having him on your team as well would be a fantastic asset because like his mental is just like compared to pretty much everyone else's. He's just so fantastic to have on a team environment, as well as just being this absolute star player in the mid lane. Really good.
I don't know what you're talking about. Dano probably has the best mental I've ever seen in a player.
Ascended Zoink is it pretty much just carries the entire team mental by himself. So yeah, it's is it? But I think as well, like it's almost like it's cool how many names we get for mid lane, especially because if you think about it, like Azrael had like the really small champion pool, but when he would get his champions, he would like pretty much win against nearly everybody. Stark was good, but then you put him on LAN and he's just really good.
Peter was there.
Yeah. Hey, Peter was consistent. He was kind of similar to Azrael, I guess, but his champion pool was less weird, so it was easier to like play a lot of it. It was more meta, but also just not as like insane when you got things like Azrael's Azir or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I mean, mid lane is mid lane. It's always a row full of good players. So is there any names that you think I might have missed out on? Any special shout outs?
I'm trying to think. Not really, I don't think. I think you got most of the main ones.
There was also, of course, a recent Premier Tournament winner, Moot, showing that he's also a star player in the mid lane as well. So can't ignore that. Can't go over that.
That's true.
True. All right, so that's mid lane. Moving up, and one that I think if we talk about mid lane being weighted more towards the jungle, or sorry, more towards the previous, like kind of the older years, I think this is a role that actually brings out more names when we come to the newer stuff in the jungle. So I mean, the old names I think that comes out. I mean, XJ is obviously the premier one. Beyond that, there is I think Razor would be the key name that really pops out. And then no one really beyond that. But newer recently, we've kind of gotten a new batch. Decan, Costa Corda. That's kind of my name. I'm just completely
Look,
blank.
we just need some good junglers, boys. I'll be honest. Like, we've run out of names after 4. Like,
Well, who was? I'm trying to remember who was playing rivalry finals. It was against.
Zeems as well. Zeems.
Oh, Zeems as well. Yeah, so Zeems
Yeah.
actually, yeah, because Zeems is someone who I think I mentioned it. I've mentioned it every time we do with the 2 times we've done the show. Is that he's like one of the newest names that actually just really like instantly kind of exploded when he started playing. So I think he definitely warrants I think in the conversation.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess there's kind of 2 different fields. You have junglers that have always done well, but need their specific champs to, I guess, have a huge impact.
Yeah.
Dr. Yeti comes to mind. Ray comes to mind as well. Where, when they get their champ, they're just going to be a 1v9 machine, but don't have like the deepest pool. Then I guess you kind of talk about the other kind of junglers then. And recently, we haven't had any like super high spikes in elo when it comes to the jungle anyways. I don't think we've ever had any like challenger jungles. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know Dakin got Grandmaster this season that all the ranks were like steroided up. But apart from that, I mean, it's kind of interesting to think because I know Costa Corda played in the German scene before he came to the Irish scene, and he was like quite a good jungler over there as well. When he was, D2 and spamming Sejuani and Ivor in every game. But yeah, I don't know. This one's kind of close. It's up for contention. What do you think, Whymsy?
Yeah, I feel as if once again going back on results. I think the key answer is XJ. Like I said, like he had such a long period of dominance where he was pretty much the only jungler to really be putting in big performances. Like very few people matching against him. So I think he's the one. Aside from him, the one name I would kind of have close is Dakin.
Yeah.
Specifically because once again, Dakin, almost similar to Dano, there's been some performances, especially in the last like year or two, where he just shows up absolutely huge, and it's like he kind of clearly established himself as like head and shoulders above whoever he's playing against. So
I have seen Rob say in chat that your jungle is the best.
Where did he say that?
He said Whymsy jungle smiley face.
Yeah, that smiley face does not mean the best. That is
I mean,
basically
have some confidence, Whymsy.
You pick me Nocturne because I am not going to leave my jungle unless I have a button that puts me directly in your lane. So
nice.
Yeah, that's how it works. But
how jungle should be played.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ganking, weird champ. All right, but yeah, I think like for me, I think XJ is kind of it seems like weird flux as well once again because I think towards the end XJ like he kind of wasn't performing at the level, but like there was a while where he was like just so much better than everyone else, and I think as well like a lot of people were trying to catch up to him, kind of like especially because that team was so good across the board, his impact was a little less felt. But for me he'd be my clear number one, probably one of the clearest so far actually.
Actually, we forgot to mention Goose as well. Goose obviously being a strong jungler throughout the years as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you have cost on the list, I think Goose as well. No flame, but I think, like I said, the one thing I would say about Goose specifically is that I'm trying to think of big tournament wins that he has had, and I am not really immediately coming up with them. So, but I mean, at the same time, once again, was early on, especially.
He won GamerCon Div 2.
I get Div 2.
The only reason I know that was because my SG team lost.
Div 2 was banned from this podcast.
Okay.
I'm joking.
No, I like that rule. Let's keep it.
All right. But so Eddie, are you still in flux on the junglers or?
Yeah, it definitely is XJ or Dakin, but it's hard to tell. Like the thing about the Ferocity members is they are all like great players, don't get me wrong, but them as a unit, I guess it makes it easier to conceal the individual's talent because their team play was so good.
Yeah.
And even playing against them at the time, because I guess like the super dominant ferocity was when SG kind of transferred into Division 1, and playing against them for the first time, we would just get like stomped, like 15-minute scrims, just like completely rolled over. So yeah, it's kind of hard to like put them individually in, I guess, like ranking, because they were just such a solid team. So based on like that, for me, kind of nullifies results. But then again, like, they did just win so many trophies, so I guess I'd have to go with XJ on that as well.
All right. Cool. So we're kind of in agreement there. I was asked thing, but I think actually you brought up Dr. Yeti was a player I've forgotten. Given his rank performance over the seasons, I think maybe he's up there.
Sure.
So last role, and probably the one I'm actually most interested in talking about, is the top lane, because we have had some very good top laners over it, like competing in Irish tournaments for quite a while. The big names early on, Boosh kind of goes into Zizzle. Then goes into Rengus. I think are the key standouts. As like I think they're like three almost who have kind of been unanimously the best top laner in the scene at those times. Beyond that, once again, I think Devils as well at his peak was competing with those actually quite well. I'm trying to think. Is there anyone else who warrants
Big Chus? Big Chus. The biggest of Chusses, and his Nautilus.
His Frostfang Nautilus top lane, truly an example of stellar gameplay. Actually, one who I would like to almost consider is Crep, because just because of some of the sometimes Crep finds a way to win the game when he really shouldn't. It's pretty insane. So he's one, but I think it's like. There's a clear top three, and then there's also Devils as well. I think who's worth consideration. Although I think he's kind of hindered by the fact that he's actually, I think he's played more as an AD carry than he has as a top lane. But he's only ever kind of really won big as a top laner though, which is, but yeah. Also yeah. So I don't want to meme before we actually get to the point. So who would you have as your number one out of three big names?
So I guess like. Let's be honest, we'd both be trolling if we didn't say Boosh, right? And again, like for me, I wasn't exactly in the scene at the time, but the guy was like consistently challenger on a US, goes to Japan, gets challenger in a matter of days.
Yeah.
Which I'd imagine is a significantly easier server, but still getting challenger is a big feat in itself. Yeah. And even I guess since my introduction in the scene was always the standout name, right? It's like, oh, you've heard of Boosh, right? The god of the Irish scene. So I think he would be definitely at the top. But for me, and what I was, I guess, trying to get at last week is one of the things that I'd be really interested to see is how the likes of Rengus would match up versus Boosh nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I think top lane as a role has changed dramatically since then. And it would be really interesting to see how those play out. Now, we were lucky enough to get to see a lot of like Zizzle versus Rengus back in the day.
Yeah.
But again, like nowadays, it would be again interesting to see how they line up. I would put Rengus over Zizzle now. After his split on Enclave in the LVP, he was like a standout player. Huge for that team. And I guess, yeah, I like it's kind of tough to say again because they're playing the game at different times. But if we're talking all time, it would probably be Boosh for me.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, and I think Rengus is the most standard of the three top laners. Like he actually has like a fairly regular champion pool, which is obviously is great to have on your team. But if you compare, I think both just the fear almost of playing against both Boosh and Zizzle at their peaks is pretty insane. Boosh literally just banned 3 of his champions, and he'll play like Yorick or Volibear, and while the rest of his team, who are also really good players, get every champion that they want. I or then Zizzle as well. Like you kind of have to make these weird bans towards Karma and Rengar and all that stuff. So I think the two of them were kind of weirdly similar, and I remember at the time it was like Bush would beat Zizzle, and then almost kind of I think as soon as Bush left, Zizzle actually stepped up to the point where he was like even more dominant, and he was actually playing more normal champions as well. So it's very tough to discern between those two. Like I said, I think Kane. You'll have a different experience from people who played against them. Because Kane is saying Zizzle in chat. I'd actually like to see anyone else who's kind of playing at the time. What other opinions they might have. I would also say Bush, but it is really.
It's actually, close.
I think you're because you were saying that we'd be trolling with saying Bush, but I actually think it is really tough to discern. I think Bush at his peak was slightly better than Zizzle, just purely because of the impact he had. But then at the time as well, one thing to consider is that the scene was kind of underdeveloped, which may have factored in. Also, the fact that there were only 3 bans in the game at the time, which is actually may have actually changed things, maybe a little bit, not by much. Like that was a very good team, but yeah. So I know people saying. They were saying we're forgetting it. He's German. Azrael was Scottish. We included him as well. If you've played enough tournaments in the Irish team, I think.
You're fair.
Yeah.
Fair game.
But yeah. So that's kind of that's a quick cover of our opinions on some of the best players on the roles. Our general consensus: the best Irish team is Bush XJ. We'll go with Dano. But I think it's a close one, and then
a win for the Zoinks,
and then some mix between Devil's Voina, Munch, Blaze for the bot lane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're kind of wrapping up the episode. Once again, if you guys have any questions for us in chat, they can be serious, they can be complete memes, within reason, and we'll do our best to answer them. In the meantime, make sure that you guys, as we discussed at the start of the stream, sign up for Red Bull Solo Queue. The second qualifier is on Thursday. As a link, hopefully one of our mods is in chat, so they can post a link. But yeah, top 8, you qualify for the playoffs. And the winner of the tournament wins a trip to the finals in Brazil. So you guys definitely want to get in on that prize. If they're not linking it, just look up Red Bull Solo Queue. But yeah, once again, if anyone wants to drop a few questions. Crep said, at least Whymsy's not ranking Woo over me anymore. I'll put me ahead of Crep. But just for that reason. But yep, so now having a look. Who would win a Braum 1v1 between me and Kev, asks Dano. Kev?
I'd slap him around.
I mean...
I'd slap him around.
I heard those words from a certain Mr. Gaffney on Yumi before Yumi 1v1, and the Zoink in fact did win that.
That's true. So, that was probably the most painful 1v1 I've ever watched in my entire life.
All I'm saying is, Dado, if you are looking for some stream content, you may, and in Kev's inclined, that could be a potential avenue to be explored. If you have 4 gold players plus 1 Irish scene player, who would it be? That's an interesting one. Consider I'm a gold player as well. I know from experience what it's like being a gold player.
Are we talking now or are we talking all time? Regardless, you'd want someone with insane macro knowledge, because what you've seen, what has been seen from these kind of like mixed tournaments where you have like good players and bad players in these kind of like captain's draft style tournaments, is players that can micromanage their entire team while play to their win condition are always the most valuable players in that tournament by far. So
yeah. See, when you put it like that, my first thought would be hustling, but then I realized that playing on 4 goals, playing on a team with hustling, would kind of break their mental and definitely destroy his like permanently. So
you definitely have to have a mental of steel to be playing with 4 goal players.
He does not. So I think beyond that, I think mental of steel is a very important one. But like you said, also kind of good micromanagement. Munch would actually be a player that I think, just based on your description of saying earlier, and also the games I played with him, would be a good shout to for that kind of situation. So I mean, I don't know if that's a response to me, but Evan asking who's good at video game. Not me.
I'm alright.
I'm alright. The slower and less mechanically involved the game is, definitely the better. I've been playing some Street Fighter recently, and Jesus Christ, that's just like, I don't know why everything is so complicated. You have to like do like a little Z on your stick if you want to like sure you can, which is completely unnecessary. Hang on, I was looking
The
through.
Dune with 5 silvers, QCon.
That was the thing. They actually Luke might know where they finished. I think they kind of finished towards the top, but yeah, it's pretty. Kerry asks, will SG return for the next rivalry?
I don't know. Is there a market for selling jackets?
I don't know. Like, if they're gonna buy out Open Revia, is that the team plan?
Might do. I don't know. Well, I guess I'm playing League again now that I found a bit of a routine. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. I feel like one of the nice things nowadays, as opposed to back when I guess I was managing SG actively, is back then I used to have to like go out of my way to get in contact with players to try and like get them to play for the team. Whereas it feels like now there's such a wide variety of people to choose from in every role, which is, completely new. You don't normally get that in Irish tournaments. So because I guess there's more depth there, but we'll see what happens. Could be done.
Yeah. So fingers crossed. We get more jackets back in the market. Just to scroll back and ignore some of the questions. Devil said Smash players trying to play actual fighting games. Devil's, next time you actually beat me in Smash, we'll take your opinion into consideration. Zoink asks, what role do you want me to win next rivalry on? Now.
Oh, it's got to be jungle, right?
Yeah,
you got to just shut back and cost up. Like, it has to be done.
In general video game design as well, can you start at the easy levels and you kind of go scaling up and up as it goes on? So I think jungle is kind of is the next real point for Lord Zoink on his conquest of the world in 5 different roles. Having to flick back through because I might have missed some questions.
Rengus is the final boss. I guess I'll just have to sign Dano for the resurgence of SG.
SG Dano
as our first official signing.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can afford his lofty wages, which he spends on skins for his kittens. So
that's true.
But yeah, it seems that the questions are: who was the best coach? Well, if you're not saying NSG Whymsy as the single greatest coaching figure in Irish League of Legends history, you might quite possibly be trolling really hard. That's all I'm gonna say. My drafts were quick and precise, and yeah.
Whymsy, all I'm gonna say is I coached 2 teams, right? I coached 2 teams. I coached SG Div 2 twice, and they got finals and won those 2 tournaments respectively. So
I do remember Coach Kev at the land that shall not be named.
That's true.
In his coach card. That was
I don't know. That is a bit of a question, though. I mean, you've also got coaches out there that completely just call you a meme team of Ireland and make an absolute fool of themselves on stream. But
yeah, that was. Was that saved? I don't know. I know the
I hope it is. I really hope it is.
I'm pretty sure the clip was deleted. That was unfortunate. The meme team of Ireland.
The meme team of Ireland.
What happened with NSG drop? We'll not say anything about that. You can probably find it on Twitter if you look around hard enough. That's a bit. Don't really want to get into details of that. Best owner. Well, I mean, you're literally talking to Kevin Trader on stream, so he's going to probably answer himself.
Well, I mean, it has to be Wings, right? Like he's actually just signed a deal with a massive org to make,
True. But has he ever propelled a team purely to Division 1 on the sole power of memes alone?
No, he hasn't. No, I don't think he has.
That's something to consider. Munster Wings. Munster Rugby Wings.
That's true.
We're seeing who sold more jackets. Alright, so anyway, the rugby teams get jackets? They probably do. In any case, we're going to leave that there. Again, thank you everyone for watching. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Twitch, it's up there. You want to follow Kev on Twitter, that's his thing there. And on Twitch, just put a little SG underscore in front of it. Once again, we stream stuff, so it would be appreciated. But yeah, also if you want to drop this channel a follow, a sub, please do. We much appreciate it here at Watch Raid, and we'll help keep this show going. But from myself and from Kevin. That will be it. Thank you, and we'll be back next week for episode 3 of Catchup XP. See you.